Gita, Shane Shane Rupame, Buddhyagriti Grihitaya, Atma Samstham Mana Kritva, Na Kinchidavi Chintaye. So gradually, step by step, one should become situated in this Krishna consciousness. So you see, even Krishna is acknowledging the necessity of being gradual, step by step, because we are conditioned at different levels. But with full conviction, with our intelligence fully engaged and applied, and then the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking only of the Supreme Lord and our connection with the Self, nothing else, gradually, step by step. So what are these baby steps that we can take? We are here, sitting in America, in Philadelphia, trying to figure out what to do. I want to be Krishna conscious. What is my first step? So these are the different baby steps that Krishna has outlined, our acharyas have outlined, the different great devotees have shown us how to do this. In summary, we can just summarize like this. We work for Krishna. Why? Because we have to work. We can't stop working. And then you practice this process of bhakti yoga. There are many practical things you can do in the bhakti yoga system. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, different things that engage our body, our mind in loving exchanges with the Lord. And then think of Krishna as often as possible. Smartavya satatam Vishnu, vismartavya najaduchit. Sarve vidhi nishedasyu, etayoreva kinkara. There are all these different Vedic rules and regulations, the do's and the don'ts. They're all the servants of two important instructions. Always remember Krishna. That is the do. And the don't is? Never forget it. Okay? That's it. Everything else is servant. Sanskrit is a beautiful language. Because kinkara, you might have heard this word means servant. But even if you take that apart, king means what and kara, to do. That means the servant comes, what can I do next? What can I do next? Kinkara, kinkara. Even their name shows their action. So all the other do's and don'ts are servants of always think of Krishna, always remember Krishna, never forget him. That's what it's about. And we know that chanting is very important. It's like the key process. So let us work at getting better in our chanting process. Right? That's step number 4. And then step number 5, let us step back and plan our lives. If something needs to be changed or reoriented in lives to be more Krishna conscious, let's take those kind of steps and plan our life to gradually move the balance to more simplicity and deeper Krishna consciousness. Simple living, higher thinking, as much as possible, as much as we can handle practically. But let's make some steps. There's always room for improvement and planning our lives for adding more Krishna and less of things that are distracting us from Krishna. And 6, share with others. That's what this whole movement is all about. That's what Srila Prabhupada came from Vrindavan to US and the rest of the world, to share Krishna consciousness with others. Krishna himself said in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, we want to become dear to Krishna, right? What does Krishna says? He says, there is nobody more dear to me than one who shares his knowledge of Bhagavad Gita among the devotees. And he goes on to say, and in the future, there will never be anyone more dear. He gives that promise. This is the top of the top. So we can share what we learned a bit with others. And if we're not good at sharing or speaking or something like that, we can support the devotees who are. We can encourage them, we can support them, we can work for them. So many things we can do. So, how do we work for Krishna? We all have to work. We can't stop work even for a moment. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. You can't say, you have to work. So you work for Krishna. This is prime time that you're giving us, Sunday evening. Everyone who's here is really fortunate to be in front of the deities. Why don't we have 800 people here right now? Because they're not as fortunate. Philadelphia has so many people, but only those who are fortunate are here. So even coming here, that's the way to work for Krishna. You work hard to get here. He said you have to work really hard to get here. The gas price is so high, you have to work extra hour just to be able to get here. That's work. You can do direct service to Krishna like that. You can, you can bring offerings. You can earn something. So it's like gives the fruits of your labor to Krishna. So there's a basket. You brought some, food items that offer to the Lord, or flowers. So many things you can do for the Lord. Like that, we all do some work, and if you give some of our fruits, whatever income that we earn, some of it toward the Krishna consciousness movement, or to improve our lives in that way, maybe purchase some books, maybe help distribute some books, so many things you can do. So work for Krishna. And then engage in Bhakti Yoga processes. So start chanting, japa, do kirtan at home. There's different ways you can serve the deity here, you can serve the deity at home. If you don't have deity at home, that's okay. You can come and serve the deity here, just like taking darshan of the deity is serving. Standing in front of the deity and chanting, that's serving the deity. And much, much more. You can go out on Harinam, you can see these devotees are out on Harinam on the street. It's a fun thing to do. So we talked about thinking of Krishna. First thing about waking up, make it a habit to think of Krishna. It'll lasting at night. You might have noticed if you're singing a song at night and you fall asleep, that tune in your mind, you wake up singing the same tune. So if you start singing, you sing Hare Krishna, any tune that you like, Hare Krishna tune, and you just put yourself to sleep like that, you wake up singing that same tune. That's a nice way. So first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and all times in between, even at work. Now we might say, be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Just like a young person is completely in love, right? Young person is just in love, and even while they're working, they're thinking of their beloved. You know, they work hard, they work well, you know, they have the expertise. Every now and then they'll smile while working because they'll remember something, or they'll remember that, oh yeah, we booked these tickets and we're going to go out together next week. And that'll make them smile because the love is there, even while they're working, right? So we can develop that. We can develop the habit of thinking of Krishna even at work. How? Between things. You know, sometimes you're working on, like I work in IT and computers, so I'm working on, say, a computer program or something, figuring out a problem, and then I solve it, and then I look up, and then I think, yes, Krishna is so kind. Krishna is so kind. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have this job. I know I don't deserve it. Somehow I'm able to do what I'm able to do. Krishna says I'm the ability man. Somehow I'm able to do this as Krishna's ability. So I'm grateful. So we can at least appreciate Krishna. We can have some gratitude. Just take a moment to be grateful. Gratitude is extremely powerful and also extremely easy. So take a moment to be grateful. Maybe another way to engage our emotion is remorse. We can even be remorseful. My Lord, yesterday I didn't think of you. I'm sorry, but today I'll be better. Or I wasted my whole life not being Krishna conscious, but I'll take it up more. So we can experience all these things and put Krishna in the center of that emotion. Because our minds are thinking of stuff all the time. Might as well saturate it with Krishna. You know? We have to just see, love is a very far off goal. But there are stepping stones that are much easier to reach. I'm praying for strength to be more Krishna conscious while we work on it. Then work at improving our japa. It's so nice we're all doing japa together. There's always ways to improve our japa. Remember, there may be a limit to how much quantity we can increase. You know, we have only 24 hours in the day. But there's no limit to how much quality we can increase. No limit. There's no limit. You can go as deep as the ocean and beyond. But we can start by the basics. Sit properly. Shri Prabhupada interrupts the japa tape twice. That means it's important to sit properly. If we slouch like this, and then we wonder why after I'm feeling so exhausted after my japa, because our posture actually affects our mood. Yeah, so we sit properly. Yeah, develop practice. Even if you sit on a chair, it doesn't matter. Sit properly, straight. Focus on the sound. Sound vibration is important. So speak clearly, say the name clearly. Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Set aside a good time and a place, preferably early in the morning, and a nice clean place in your house where you can sit and focus without being disturbed. It's very ideal. And then you practice absorbing the mind. How do you remind yourself? Krishna is here present. When you say the name, Abhinatva Nama Namino. There's no difference between Krishna and his name. So we remind ourselves to engage the mind in that way. And then, beyond the mind, there are emotions. We can engage those as well. Like I mentioned, there is gratitude, appreciation, and remorse, and so many nice things we can offer to the Lord. And then, this way, we're not holding back anything. We're giving possibly give to the Lord in the form of the japa, in the form of the holy name. Then it's up to the Lord to reciprocate with His mercy. That's how japa works. We should not hold back anything. Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam satheva bhajamiham. To the degree, to the way, to the angle in which someone approaches me, we have to give what we have. See? So we work on our japa and plan for our future. Of course, nobody is seen tomorrow, but let us see if we can figure out a way of our life. That's why we have this, brahmacharya. In the old days, everybody went through brahmachari, and then grihastha, and then vanaprastha, and then sannyas. So like different life stages. The whole thing was planned out, structured. We don't, maybe in a modern life, we don't structure it so much like that, but we can still plan, make a practical long-term plan to add more Krishna gradually to our lives and less of distraction, whatever that form that may be. But let's intensify our Krishna consciousness on a daily basis, and a 1-year plan, maybe a 5-year plan, and a 20-year plan. Of course, we don't know how long we'll live and things like that, but at least we can future. It's very important. And then, of course, share with others. When you share your happiness increases. When you share distress, your distress decreases. Sharing is very nice. Give encouragement to others. Remember, when we're coming in a spiritual circle like this, in a spiritual community, the world outside is full of discouragement. At least here, let's give encouragement to each other. Let's look for opportunities to give encouragement. Let us avoid saying things and doing things that discourage. Always give encouragement. Look for opportunities like that. Let's get better at it. This is part of sharing Krishna consciousness with others. Why? Because we have to set a good example. Set a good example for the children. Everybody knows children don't listen to what we say. But they watch very carefully what we do. Right? We know that. So then let's do it. See, it is said, always preach, and if necessary, use words. See, how we live is our preaching, how we conduct ourselves, how much encouragement we give others, how much distress we mitigate of others. This is all preaching. We want to represent Krishna. So simplify our lives, share Krishna consciousness with others. This is a different way of, this is all sharing. Okay, so I'll end with this beautiful verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's about the divine effect of the holy names. I'll sing this verse. Tunde tandavini ratim vitanute tundavali labdhaye karna kroda kadambini ghatayate karnavudebhya spriham Chetah prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim no jane janita kiyadviramritai Krishneti varna.
To spend some time with us sharing knowledge about Krishna consciousness. I, for one, am I'm very grateful to have this association at this time. So my question, that can be regards just the same, we as bhakti practitioners are aspiring to become that way because these dehas are, they absorb things like sponges, and we have these reactions because that can be confusing at times. In water, but not of the water. My question is, because I deal in interfaith also, there's a phrase in Christianity that's used, in the world, but not of the world. Coming out of the Vedas, yes, longer, correct?
Yes.
So in that way, would you explain deeper how we can be more focused on what we're doing, but not at the same time becoming more egotistical in what we do, thinking that we're not going to be affected because of what we breathe?
Yes, so thank you very much for doing it. Very good question. I'll just kind of summarize it. There's a statement, being in the world but not of the world. And it's very similar to the same concept of Krishna consciousness, about the lotus leaf being in the water but not in the machine, right? Just didn't have time to eat. And I also didn't have much of a dinner last night, so I'm quite hungry. But I have a 1.5 hour commute, because the traffic is really bad. And then I get to work that's in the vending machine, I mean, what am I eat a Kit Kat for breakfast? That's gross. But that's all they have in the vending machine. And I take the $1, and I said, I put $1, and they said, no, it's $1.25. A quarter, then it gives you a Kit Kat, and this is gross. Why was I compelled to eat that nasty stuff? Yes, because I missed breakfast. Correct. Similarly, on a practical level, if we have organized our day, see, our soul is always hungry. Anandamayo bhyasat. The soul is always hungry for ananda, pleasure, all the time. But the soul also has, if you're satisfied, soul also has breakfast, lunch, and dinner times. See? The soul eats what? Ananda. And Ananda is only available at the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. So if first in the morning you have given yourself enough spiritual breakfast, done some intense bhajan, something nice, attend Mangalarti. If you can't do that, sing Mangalarti at home. If you can't do that, do some good japa and sing Hare Krishna even for 3 to 5 minutes. Read a few verses from Bhagavatam. So invest 25, 30, 40 minutes in the morning. That's your breakfast for the soul. Then when you're out in the world, you'll be abuzz with the joy because you've had that spiritual breakfast. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that you're still a sponge for Ananda. Now, if your sponge has been soaked in the morning with spiritual Ananda, you'll be able to resist the fake Anandas of the world because a sponge is dry. Sponge should not be left dry. It should be so wet in the morning in the heart. And the thing is, that vacuum in the heart, we all have a vacuum, there's a hole in the heart. But that hole has a very specific shape. That shape is exactly like Charabihari shape, with the flute and everything. It's missing. And we try to put other things that don't fit in that shape and we think we'll be satisfied. But only Krishna can fill that hole in the heart. So we have to fill that hole in the heart every single day in the morning and in the evening. So when the soul's ananda propensity is satisfied, then not only are we giving off ananda in a spiritual way, we will be fully inoculated from the ill effects of the world. Just constant, the sponge of our heart is not going to absorb the Kit Kats of the world, you see. Otherwise we will inevitably find ourselves looking for ananda somewhere else. It may not be healthy. It may even be destructive. But we can't help ourselves. We will end up being mithyachari, false, or pretenders. We will. The another part cannot be stopped. It's try to make it as Krishna conscious as possible. Right? I hope that helped me doing it. Thank you. Thank you. So we are out of time. I thank you once again for my obeisances unto you, enjoy your lotus feet. For this opportunity, and look forward to coming and spending more time with all the wonderful devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thank you very much, Ram Gopal Prabhu.